Hey, good afternoon, On Foot Lifers. I want to talk about shoes. Last night when I got home on my deck was my shoes for this season. Looking forward to a new year of walking. We've got some big plans this year. But I wanted to talk to you about, before I open those up and look at them, I wanted to talk about how I got there, how I got to the decision for buying this pair of shoes, this pair of boots for this season. And it goes back to my first long distance walking trip when I started out with some nice heavy Merrells. I actually walked most of the El Camino de Santiago with these monster boots. Too hot, too heavy, but currently these serve as my daily walkers. This is probably one of the most comfortable boots I've ever owned. It's a full leather Merrell. One of the disadvantages of this boot is it does not have a Vibram sole, and I've worn out 3 pair of these in the last 5 years. But for winter walking, this is a fantastic boot choice. It's really a late fall winter boot. I wouldn't recommend it for any summer walking and any long distance walking anymore. This is too heavy for wearing day after day for weeks on end. So the Merrell is a boot I love, I still use, but not going with me this year. So a few years ago at our local sporting goods store, they have an annual tent sale in the spring, and Crystal picked up these Terrex addidas Terrex. Her brand was included the Goretex fabric, and this is a shoe that she has absolutely loved. Waterproof. We would go out in times where my waterproof Merrell, I would find myself with a wet foot, and she came home with a dry foot. So great shoe for keeping dry. Good traction. She's actually worn this one out. She's gone through 2 pair of these. You can see that heel has really taken some abuse on this shoe. But one of her favorites, one of the things we like to do, although we find shoes we like, we find gear we like, we also are always looking for a bargain. And so this year, with what we have coming up, she's actually transitioned over to the Solomons this year. So these 2 shoes are similar in weight. The Solomon's got a little more aggressive traction on the bottom. She wore this one out for a short walk we did this week on the snow and ice, and the shoe performed really well. She said it's really comfortable. She felt like maybe it was a little bit cold. Of course, it was 25 degrees when we were out there walking, so that won't be our summer walking. Nice breathable, again, Goretex upper on the shoe, so a waterproof shoe. In that same year that Crystal got this Terrex, I picked up my first pair of Adidas Terrex shoes. This one is not waterproof. This doesn't have the Goretex, and that has been my only complaint about this shoe. I've put a lot of miles on this. We hiked the Chilkoot Trail. I've pretty much worn the bottom of this one to the point where it's ready to be retired. And this shoe traveled with me on the Chilkoot Trail. Unfortunately, this year, the weather was a little bit of rain, but we weren't drenched, and so I didn't really suffer with wet feet too badly. But I certainly wouldn't wear this in wet conditions, which brings me to how I chose my shoe for this year. This year we have a special challenge. We're going to be hiking the West Highland Way in Scotland, and then we're going to be moving down to the south end of the Iberian Peninsula, and we're going to be hiking the Camino Portuguese from Lisbon to Santiago de Compostela. So I needed a shoe light. I like the support of a mid, so I needed that mid category. Breathable, because we're going to be in hot weather, and also waterproof, because last time we walked a week in Scotland, we had 16 days of rain out of our 7-day trip there walking in Scotland. So that brings me this year to the Terrex Eastrail Mid GTX. So just had this sitting on my porch last night when I got home. I didn't have time to get them out and take a look at them. So we're looking at this shoe for the first time. This has the Goretex, and with this one we added a splash of color this year, not all gray and black. And my first impression is it's really about the same weight as my mesh shoe. which wasn't dry. And of course, we've got the Goretex with this one. So I'm looking forward to a dry foot. Real aggressive footbed, which I like, especially when you're going up and down trails and when you get into slick rocks. We're wet here in Kodiak a lot. And so I'm looking forward to seeing how this performs over rock and slick trails, and even digs into maybe some of those sandy trails we've got as well, up Pillar Mountain just in our backyard over here. So I'm kind of excited about this shoe. Again, purpose behind this one, going Goretex. I need a breathable shoe. We're going to be hiking in hot weather. I need a light shoe. We're going to be hiking all summer long.